we started a pure play digital neobank sort of 5 years ago now actually, called Up. And we've been using that to sort of learn and use that really fast feedback loop with our customers to test things in the market, and where those things actually resonate with customers, to both scale them within Up, but also take those learnings and use those to accelerate our journeys in the Bendigo Bank as well. So that's been a real highlight, seeing that scale and continue to scale really quickly, and just see the way it's resonating with customers in a very different way than a traditional bank.
Yeah, give us an example of that different way it resonates with customers, because just looking at the way you engage, the visuals you use, the terms you use, what's an example of something that customers love?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of examples, and it's really fascinating to me as someone who's spent 30 years working in banks, is that a lot of our customers don't see Up as a bank, and a lot of all of the team, none of the team are bankers, which I think is a key learning, as well as we reimagine what banking looks like. But in terms of those aspects that resonate with customers, I mean, it is the engagement levels customers have with the platform are like nothing I've ever seen in banking before, which is really fascinating. For example, we released a feature in November called Hi-Fi financial sound system, basically. So it was a way to engage with customers to understand how they're feeling about the cost of living crisis, how they're feeling about money, how they're interacting with the environment that we're in, which is, tough for a lot of people, especially that demographic that Up appeals to, which is 18 to 35-year-olds. And the number of customers that actually interacted with that feature and told us how they're feeling about their finances and what their challenges are was astounding. I think we had 80,000 customers responding in the first couple of weeks with quite detailed responses about how they feel. I think it's probably the largest financial well-being survey that's ever been done in Australia on that demographic. So that's just one example, but there's many of the features that we put on the platform have those sort of interaction levels.
As you speak about that, it's a fresh and different approach, and it really does support the idea of financial well-being rather than the products, right?
So the case study that Peter alludes to was looking at how we work with fintech. So when I talked around differentiation before and speed, one of the things we figured out early on we have to do is we have to be better at partnering than anyone else, because we don't have the money, resources, or time, frankly, to be able to build lots of things ourselves. So we need to partner with others and then have the right data and technology architecture to be able to stitch together those components, whether others are building them or ours, into propositions that actually resonate with customers. So one of the propositions we pulled together early on for that was in relation to Up, which I talked about earlier. And as we were growing the Up customer base, there were lots of those customers were coming to us saying, actually, how can Up help us get into a home? You're helping us be better with money, but we can't actually get a home loan from you. So how do you help us get into a home? So we figured we needed a home loan product in Up, which we call Up Home. And so there were a bunch of people got in a room and said, right, how do we do this? And from them sitting in that room to actually getting a product to market was 6 months, from the idea through to having a product in market for our customers. And the way we did that was we got, and there wasn't many people, there were probably 5 or 6 people, essentially from a partner called Timely that was previously called TikTok, till that name was used by a social media company, but now called Timely. So Timely, who had a home loan origination platform, an assessment platform. The team from Up, who were really good at customer experience and how do we actually integrate that customer experience into the home loan origination platform. And then some people from Bendigo who are saying, right, how does this end-to-end proposition fit into our risk management framework? How do we ensure that we can actually fund this? How does this all work on an end-to-end basis? And that was a great example for me of something that traditionally would have taken years. We essentially had something in market for our customers in 6 months. True appetite and alignment from the board and from the CEO to embark on this sort of journey. It's not a journey for the faint-hearted, and it takes time. And unless the board is committed to stay the course and the CEO is committed to stay the course, and there's real alignment there in terms of what that journey looks like and how long it'll take and how much it'll cost and all those good things, then it's very difficult. And I'd say it's bordering on impossible because there's too many variables that are too hard to control. So I think that was the first thing, is that Jackie and Marnie were incredibly aligned in terms of the imperative to do this.
They had a common language, I noticed, so
yes.
that must have helped.
Yeah, exactly. And, language is the most important thing, I would say, and creating that language across the organisation so that people can actually communicate. Sounds simple, but it's hard. Is probably the most important factor. But yeah, that alignment is just critical for the board and the executive to be all aligned around where we're going, why we're going there, and what's going to be involved, and that it's not all going to be a happy path. And I think the interesting thing for me is that, over a relatively long career, I've seen this dynamic happen where you used to have the business and technology. And over time, those two circles have become closer and closer to the point now where there's one circle and it's every business is a technology business. And so I think that's really interesting in these type of roles because you've essentially got to you've got to be able to tell that story across the organisation and really align hearts and minds in terms of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and also that it's a contact sport, so everyone actually needs to be involved. It's not something you can just hand off to the transformation team to do. Actually, everyone needs to be involved, and that's something we did quite early on, made my executive peers or sponsors of the different programs of work we had, rather than saying, oh, that'll be done by those folk over there. So I think that true integration across the organisation and really working across the organisation to achieve common goals is the key.